Is Bobo still here? B-Rock?
Yeah.
B-Rock? I just, real quick before I do this piece, this short story, I just wanted to say thank you for what you said earlier. Everything that you touched on was completely right, and anything that I can do to support you and the think tank, man, I want to do so. I actually had a situation on the way here in the car with my son. I got pulled over by the police. And grace of God, he let me go. Didn't give me no ticket or nothing like that, but I handled the situation with great respect, humility, and communication. And it was in that moment that I had to have that conversation with my son. You know what I'm saying? So I thank you, bro, for bringing forth the information that you brought forth and that God put that on you to say and to do, because it needs to be done. So thank you, bro. I respect you so much, man. Like, for real, for real. Thank you. This piece, this short story, again, is called The Selfish Love. And it's kind of about a boy who received selfish love as a child. So he grew up to love selfishly. He was an inquisitive child. Anything he laid his eyes on, he could learn. Not the brightest, but always the most courageous. Fear was never a part of his characteristics. Raised with a family of 11, 13 if you included his mother and father. The household he grew up in were shared quarters for them and many other families. The old brick remains, holding the spirits of love, death, depression, and decades of untold travesties. This is the place he developed selfish habits. Everything he ever had was never enough, always receiving a portion instead of a full serving. He knew he was deserving to have it all, especially after he met her. She made him want to share everything in his world. A genius with his hands, he was a master tradesman. Fixing and building things was his specialty. Athletic, articulate, and no stranger to a hustle. Charming, kind, convincing smile, fair-skinned and handsome. She bore him 4 children. Never questioning his ability to lead, she followed. In love with her every motion, she became the center to his universe. He loved her the only way he knew how, selfishly. Growing up with 10 other siblings, it was hard having things all to himself. Now married with children, having his own is all that matters to him. His own radio system that he kept locked inside of a wood cabinet that he built. His own pies that he would spank his children for if they got a slice. His own cars and bike that no one else could ride. His own shoes and clothes. His own sons that he would neglect to love. His own money and his own woman. All the things he could control to make him feel like a whole man. If he had his own, nothing else mattered to him. As the time began to change, so did he. Older, yet stuck in his selfish ways, a diabetic stroke crushed his manhood and his ego. His esteem grew low, over 50 years old and nothing to show after all the things he once owned. Lack of education left him in a world of devastation. 2008 and computers are foreign to his nature. Pride kept him from asking, so he was never fed. His wife flourished instead. She's on the house deed, works, cooks, and cleans. As she moved further into the new century, his selfish love led her into the arms of another. Dangling on the thread of divorce, he refuses to lose the last thing that he owns, her. Together for more than 30 years, a total of 5 kids, united for weddings, funerals, parties, and reunions. For so long, they were a pair. She filled the void of love that grew so deeply in the little boy he once was, undividedly giving him attention from doing his laundry to bringing him the first plate at dinner time. She catered to the parts of him that had to feel man enough. Out of work, no literacy on the latest technology, health on the decline, he's losing his mind. He fought with the thoughts of losing her. How could it be? How did it come to this? If I lose my wife and my kids, what other reason do I have to live? For the first time, he was controlled by hurt, pain, and fear. Reverting to that ignored little boy, lost and lonely, the voice of selfishness began to whisper, "Don't let him have her. If you aren't man enough to be who she needs, then no man will. I own her. She's mine. No one can have her, not even her children." So he selfishly took her life in front of them before taking his own. I'll never forget that look. It was August, but his eyes made it the coldest winter ever. Standing stone cold in front of me, completely void, lacking empathy. Tortured and damaged, completely out of his mind. I thought he was under hypnosis, totally focused on the goal at hand, to put all of his misery to an ultimate end. Full arm extend, pistol clenched in hand. Those eyes, those eyes, those eyes. Those eyes didn't belong to my daddy. It hurt me to see him hurting so bad. Depths of darkness deeply desecrated his being, no soul glow. Just a vessel of shadows. I'll never forget that look. He wasn't man enough to live and love without her. He was too much man. Overcome with suppressed aggression, hurt, and disappointments, he neglected those most vulnerable feelings. He never wanted to appear weak. When the pain finally set in, it was too much to bear. He was too much of a man to lose everything so easily. My father was too manly for that.